Alright, guys, here you have it. Here is my review for Avengers Infinity War. This is going to be a spoiler review. Okay, so for anybody who is stupid enough and thick enough to click on a video titled spoiler review and be angry that spoilers are given, you deserve to have this movie ruined for you for your stupidity. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. So I'll try and do my best to break this film down how I saw it. It's an interesting film. This is a very, very, very interesting film to unpack because, okay, off the bat, I think I'm just going to start off with the ending. The ending did not have the desired effect. Now, what happens is, again, I've not read the comic. I've not read the Marvel comic. But what happened was Thanos pretty much, he gets sort of stopped, but he gets killed, uses the time stone, reverses time, and he then takes Vision's Infinity Stone. He has all the Infinity Stones, and he pretty much did what he did. He wipes out half of the universe, and you now see people like Black Panther, like Falcon, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, all pretty much disappear and turn into ash. But as I was watching that, I wasn't shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, they killed Black Panther, they killed Spider-Man, because of course it's going to be a Spider-Man 2. And they've already greenlit a Black Panther 2. So the desired thing of these characters are now gone, it doesn't work. Because I already know that they're going to get a sequel. So when that happened, in my mind I was saying, okay, what's happening? Because surely they're not dying, they're not dead. So what's happening here? You know, are they disappearing? Are they going to another realm? So that's why this goes to the MCU and their whole thing of creating this world where you've got a massive slate. And it goes to, I think maybe I'll talk about it later on, where, you know, back in the day, you just created a standalone film where it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you're not thinking 5 years, 3 years in advance. You're just thinking about here and now and creating a contained story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But the film as a whole, it's epic. Huge things happen. And you definitely feel the grand scale of the film. You definitely feel the money being spent in the film. Because the thing about it is that it's not a film. It literally is like it's a war. From the very beginning to the end, things move. So there's hardly any space to really relax. You always feel like if something is happening. And so I think for me the thing that stood out about the film easily, the star of the film, is Thanos. Thanos overshone everyone, and I think, and that is a plus and also a minus I have with the film, because Thanos was amazing. The CGI on Thanos is out. This is some of the best CGI I've ever seen. Brolin's acting and his work with the CGI and the animation was absolutely incredible. And Thanos is in a lot of the film. So I just think his nuances, his expressions, when you see him fight, and his power is amazing. Like the way this guy disrespected Hulk. He turned Hulk into a brick. He turned him into a brick. If Hulk was like a tier 1, tier 2 player, he turned him into a full-on brick. He destroyed him. And you basically you feel this dude's power. The way he just completely ramsacks these Avengers. Because I was thinking about that. How do you stop this dude? You can't kill him. You pretty much can't kill him because Thor had to build a flipping hammer in flipping Mordor, and that didn't stop him. So it's like, wait, how do you stop this? I mean, they have to call the bloody X-Men, the Silver Surfer. Basically, you really felt how this guy was unlike any other villain that's these Marvel guys that we've ever seen in any Marvel film. And I think basically I don't think there's any superhero film that has shown a villain this powerful. As in, this guy literally decimated dudes. Like, he fought about 6, 7, 10 Avengers, and he completely destroyed these dudes. You know, I mean, they won a few battles, but he pretty much destroyed these dudes. Now my beef, and this is something that is maybe an unpopular take with a lot of people, because people say that Thanos is a great villain because we know so much about him and he's very nuanced and we understand where he's coming from. I have a different take on a villain. For me, one of the greatest villains, in my opinion, is Sauron. Sauron's thing is that he wants to rule. That's it. He's evil. That's it. And for me, that is a much more compelling villain, because when I think of a villain is an antagonist. He represents evil. He represents all that is bad. And also, as the audience, we should hate the villain. We should never try to understand the villain, because once we now stand to understand the villain, he's not a villain. Because after this film, I was like, is Thanos really bad? Because I can get his point of view. Then that means that the story has very little weight, because what gives these stories weight is good versus evil. Like a white slave master is evil. There's no good in him. There is no, we can see his point of view. No, the white slave masters who enslaved people were just pure devilish evil creatures. Stalin was evil. Hitler was evil. Idi Amin was evil. These dudes were evil. It's as simple as that. What the Japanese guys did to the Chinese was evil. Simple as that, So that's why I didn't feel like if they were really going up against a sense of evil and villainy, which is why when you watch The Lord of the Rings, you were like, man, Sauron is this dude is evil. This dude is bad, and they messed up Return of the King because they never even had like a damn face off. Darth Vader before Return of the Jedi, you were like, man, this dude is evil. Like when you saw in Empire Strikes Back and how he messed up Luke and pretty much tried to almost to destroy me, like, man, this dude is evil. When you find out that he's that, I mean, look, but that is why I just thought that we saw too much of Thanos, we saw too much of his emotions, and I think the more we saw of him and the more we learned of his story, the less of a villainous character he became. And I think that detracted from the story. I felt that we should have seen less of Thanos and more of Captain America, more of Iron Man, more of the heroes, more of Black Panther, and really got into their stories and how they ended up from where they were from Civil War, and saw less of Thanos. So, which is the truth. I think another thing as well is the thing about CGI, because I look at Thanos and I look at Thanos' minions, like the Black Order. And even if the CGI on Thanos was great, I was like, couldn't you just give Josh Brolin prosthetics and expand him? Because for me, then he would really be seeing much more of Brolin's actual acting, which would have a stronger effect than watching a CG interpretation of it. And the CG on Thanos' Black Order wasn't that great. It was much worse than Thanos, so it felt very jarring because you saw how good the CG on Thanos was, and the CG on his Black Order just wasn't very good. It was like, ugh, okay. And I said to myself, why didn't you just give people prosthetics? Why didn't you just cast the real people and just put prosthetics on them rather than having them being CG where they move awkwardly, and it just took me out of the film. But I think, like, as far as the heroes go, I think really the heroes that shone was definitely Iron Man and the Guardians. I think Iron Man and the Guardians, they was the guys that really shone, and also Doctor Strange. I think you really saw how good the acting was. As in, you saw for me, I thought Danny Jones' best acting in all the MCU films is still Civil War, but I think this is probably the second best bit of his acting. I thought Doctor Strange was really good. Benedict Cumberbatch did a really good job. Star-Lord, the comedy was a bit too much for me, and I thought that the comedy maybe just took me out of it because it meant it too overboard. But still, that's what they're about. And I thought Star-Lord, again, his comedy timing was very, very good in the film. But again, I think the only thing in this film that really gave me real impact was Gamora. I think once Gamora got clapped, because I was like, whoa, like that's. Even if the Gamora isn't a character I really connected with, because I don't think Saldana did a really good job with it, but the fact that Thanos did that to his daughter, you're like, wow, man, this is how desperate he is to get those stones. But I think I would have wanted more on Captain America, because I think he was presented really well, but in very small bits. But we didn't really get to see his relationship with him and Bucky, and just where he was in the story. We didn't really get to see much more of Black Panther and so forth. And another side note, Don Cheadle's casting as War Machine is the worst casting of all time. He is so miscast, it is scary. He is so out of place. It is so wrong. And every time I see him as War Machine, I say, this is horrible casting. He's just wrong for the role. Don Cheadle is a quality actor. If you watch Hotel Rwanda, he's a quality actor. But he is simply miscast as War Machine because there's nothing fun about him. He doesn't have a good chemistry with everyone else, and he just takes me out of it because I'm like, he just doesn't have the right vibe. Terrence Howard was quality casting. Quality casting because he does have the right vibe, but again, contracts, disputes and everything. But I think there are definitely other guys that could work better. But I mean, Don Cheadle, every time I just see him, I'm like, no, it's wrong, horrible casting. I think this goes to a bigger thing, and I think it's where I just feel like if we may be seeing superhero fatigue, because as I watch the film, yes, it's a spectacle. Yes, there's amazing computer effects, but I felt there's a lack of a story. I didn't come away saying that, okay, I saw a film. Like, when I left Civil War, like, man, that was a film with a great ending. A really emotional, dramatic ending that had an impact. Like, you know what, Civil War, that's a film. Winter Soldier, that's a film. Captain America, I still feel The First Avenger is the best film that the MCU have done, because that just feels like a film that is a win in and of itself. So, when you look at First Avenger, The Winter Soldier, you look at Civil War, these are films. They really feel like actual films. And I just felt that there was not a strong narrative here. Like, as opposed to Black Panther, even if, you know, there are a few hang-ups, I thought that Ryan Coogler told a better story that had a stronger narrative and stronger drama than was here. You know, and I think that was really what was missing, because I felt like if it didn't film as if we really saw an arc, we didn't saw a point A, a point B, a point C in this. But I think, no, the thing that just really bothered me the most was the ending. Like, if you really want to make an impact, either Iron Man or Cap has to go, because we don't know whether there's going to be another Captain America or an Iron Man sequel. So if you took one of those guys out, then it'd be like, damn, that's huge. You know, that is huge. So if Iron Man or Captain America was taken, like, now, those are stakes now. That's a real loss. So once that happened, then you're like, man, this Thanos guy has got to go. So Thanos never really did anything that made me hate him. You know, that's what I wanted. Because if Thanos had clapped Captain America, I'd be like, man, this dude has got to go, man. This dude has got to go. So I just feel like if, you know, these comic book films can be told as really good stories, and I think grounding some stuff in reality can work better. Using more prosthetics can work better, because when you look at the first Batman film that Tim Burton made, or you look at the Superman film by Richard Donner, like, those are grounded in reality. There's a strong story, that there is strong character that you can really connect with. And I think CGI, I feel is a curse. I feel CGI is a curse, but with the overuse of CGI, you lose a sense of reality. You lose a sense of connection with the story and a connection with the characters. Because when you look at the First Avenger, you look at with the Winter Soldier and Civil War, there's very little CGI used. And therefore, you really focus on the story and you really focus on the characters. Because remember, a comic book is a comic book. And it allows you to really let your imagination run wild. And some things that you see in a comic book doesn't really translate that well into film. So even if the effects may look great and so forth, I don't think this will last the test of time, as opposed to Tim Burton's first Batman film, or Sin City, or the first Superman film, or even Blade. A quality film of Captain America First Avenger. I think those films, Blade, Captain America the First Avenger, Winter Soldier, the first Batman film, Batman Returns, Superman 1, Superman 2, The Dawn of God, these will stand the test of time because they are films that are steeped in reality, and so you can really connect with them, and they'll never age. But what are things that have a lot of CGI special effects, they will age, because special effects always get better and better and better. So, but I think overall, I wouldn't call it a good film. I would call it it's very entertaining. Like, you have to see this in the cinema. For me, I definitely want to watch this in IMAX. I watched it in regular cinema. I definitely want to watch this in IMAX in 3D and just see it on the full scale, because I mean, you just feel the scale of it, and it is very epic, and it really feels like, oh, this is Infinity War. I mean, they could have still docked up a few notches. I think they could have gone even greater and a lot more grandiose with the story and with the stakes as well. But it definitely is something that you have to see on the biggest screen possible. Because again, you really feel like, if wow, you're really encapsulated by just this massive, massive story. So yeah, interesting. But maybe I need to watch it again. It's a second time. But I do think that, it is true what James Cameron said, that, maybe we are getting superhero fatigue. Like, I need someone with a fresh idea, a fresh take, because the way that Tim Burton reinvented the superhero film with the first Batman film, that's what you really need. That was something that was fresh and was very interesting. Like how Rodriguez and Frank Miller really brought Sin City to life, and how unique that was on a visual level was huge. So yeah, that's the, even what Begins did, even if Begins didn't really reach it, but what Begins sort of presented was good, but then they sort of lost their way through Dark Knight and Rises. So just as this Infinity War and this Marvel Universe, you need to tell a good story. You need to tell a good story, but to end it, man, I thought, man, Thanos, man, I still think that they should have used Brolin for prosthetics, but look, that's his impact and how he literally cracked open, how he baptized and reincarnated dudes in this film was on a whole other level. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a villain cause this much damage ever before. And just as a character, he was a great character, but as a great villain, I'm not too sure.